A lot of my work is inspired by memories, and it's springtime, and I felt how appropriate, especially delving into more of where this entire series came about, which was a really, at first dark, and then became a rebirth season of my life. So that kind of started the theme, and then I was in the middle of a shift as a pastry cook, and I actually was decorating some pastries and had a piping bag in my hand, and it just seemed to be one of these other random puzzle pieces that clicked for this series, and so that kind of propelled the whole flower obsession. And I'm sitting there and I was like, I'm gonna put paint in this piping bag. A lot of the times I will have an idea beforehand, you know, an image might pop up in my head and I'm like, oh, that's it. I know that that's usually what I'm just gonna be aiming towards, but once I get that image in my head, sometimes I have to start immediately. And I try to have a handful of surfaces kind of prepped to where when that locks in, I can just, you know, start working on it as soon as I can. And I feel like most artists are that way. Usually they will get some sort of rush and they're like, okay. All of my paintings, they have really, really tiny details. But towards the end, when I've like moved into a space where I know I'm starting to wrap things up, again with the small details, and knowing that I'm sealing it off with epoxy at the end of all my paintings, I have to get to a point where I'm 110% sure that I'm done with it, because there's just no turning back with that last epoxy phase. So one of my good friends, Emily Boyd, she's another one of the inspiring artists in my life. She told me once that one of the hardest parts of creating a piece is knowing when to stop. And that is an interesting moment through my process where I have to pull back of again, trying to find some sort of perfection and being able to sit with a piece and like, and this is done.